Hello everyone. Today's stream will be relatively short, much like the last one. I'm just giving another update on my current project. You'll see I have the same graph looking page up here on the side, so I'm gonna just get right into it. But I will say, if you are watching on the stream right now, welcome. But if you are watching on YouTube, it might be beneficial to watch my previous videos on this project so that you can have a little insight on what I'm talking about here. But with that being said, I will get right into it. So, like I had on the last video, I have this graph up, and so what happened was what the changes I talked about in the last video. I've been running the program with those changes, so I'll just scroll down this graph and you'll see that the numbers in this program's graph are much smaller than the last program's graph. The last version of the program got up to a score of 1000 rather quick. Sorry if my computer's kind of loud right now, I'm not sure what's going on with it. But yeah, so this version of the program with the fixed simulation and the fixed task, with it so that the dots go in many different directions. This version got sort of plateaued around 18 for a while, and it actually, so when I ran the last program, I let it run 100 generations, and it got to a score of 3,333 in those 100 generations, but that version of the program, that best program that it created, wasn't necessarily the most intelligent that I would like to see out of the program. So after the modifications, I've rerun it, and when it got to 100 generations, it was around here, I believe. I know that the score was 18 when the best score was 18 when it got to 100 generations. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how that program looks. So I'll pull up the program here, and there we go. So you can see that a lot more of the dots are going in circles, and that's something we want to see. That means that there are a lot more decisions happening, and more decisions means more possibility for intelligence. So on an analytical spot, you can I looked through the traits, and what this program is actually doing is it has 160 different decisions it's making. Now, whether those decisions actually do anything is different. It would have been a lot more time-consuming to scan through the decisions it's actually making and see what each one of them does. But the fact that it has the possibility for 160 unique decisions means that there is a possibility for a lot more intelligent and dynamic decision making, which is what you see here. You'll find that actually I can run it again. I'm not sure if it happens on this version of the generations, but some of the dots don't circle until they reach a certain spot on the screen. I don't know if any are doing it at the moment, but they will bounce straight, and then they'll get into a certain spot and do a circle there. And that basically means that the decision, the if statement it's running, is space specific. So it's maybe saying that after the dot is above a certain y coordinate, then it starts going in a circle. And that's something we want to see, because that means that the AI is starting to pick up intelligent traits and intelligent features of the program. So, like I said, or I might not have mentioned it, I've been running this version of the program for a lot longer than the previous one. I actually have the current version of the program all the way to generation 260, which has taken a little bit more time, but like I said, I feel a lot better about this version of the program and about this version of the project in general. So that's why I'm continuing to let it run through to exhaustion. But if you look at the graph, then you can see that the program has actually reached a higher score than this plateau of 18. It got stuck at 18 for a really long time, but it hits this 24 mark, and I'm not sure why it tends to have the first and second program change at the same time to the same score. That kind of confuses me, but these are two different programs. I did look through and check that, so that is completely coincidental. But then we have a best program of 28 down here, which means that the AI isn't stuck. It's continuing to create better programs as it goes. So I have this 28 scoring program up, and I will attempt to show you this. Here it is. Okay, so let me pull that back up, and is it gonna show? It's not. Okay, let me change this up. See if I can get that to go. There we go. Okay. And it's not working. Okay, hold on. Let me move some stuff around. Okay. This should be what we want. There we go. Okay, so you'll see that the generation on this is 252, which means that on generation 252, that's when the new high-scoring program came in. And what you'll see different with this program is that it got a little unlucky on that situation, but the dots have very specific paths, but then some of them will duck out of the way, and overall it tends to perform slightly better than the previous program I just showed you. And that's because it if everything's going in circles, then it has a little trouble hitting each other. So, and that's what we want to see. We want it to get into some organized pattern or some chaotic pattern that just works. But that is the general goal, is for a minimal amount of collisions to happen. And you'll see that it does take some time for collisions to happen in this version of the program every single time, instead of in the previous running of the AI, where the program would just get lucky on sometimes, and then every other time would just have tons and tons of collisions. So this is a consistent program, and as the days go on, I hope to see more and more intelligent programs arise from the running of this program, of this AI in general. So that is the general update on the AI and how it has been going. I plan to continue running this AI for the next few days at least, to see if it can reach a more intelligent level of task completion. But in the meantime, I do have other plans for this channel at the moment. I've been talking to a friend of mine, and I do think that this weekend, possibly Saturday, I will be able to have a full-length episode with a guest to come on and talk about a couple topics. So I believe that those topics will be more in the medical field, but there will be some general topics and some shenanigans. So even if you aren't interested in that, maybe you could stop by for the stream. That it's a whole lot easier to do this with an audience, because then I can get some responses and see that, one, my equipment is working, and two, I can have questions because possibly I'm missing something that I'm trying to describe here. Which brings me to something that I meant to bring up. One thing that I noticed with this program that I wasn't completely aware of at the time, but it seems pretty logical once I thought about it for a bit. When the program, so what happens is when the AI improves, the score that the child programs have to beat to compete with it gets higher, and when it gets higher, then when it gets high enough, then the random programs that don't work don't compete with that score. So what happens is the generations will actually fly by when those scores are high enough, and that's what you'll see. What happened in this situation with the 18. In this area up here, these generations were flying by in maybe 45 seconds, and every once in a while it would stop and check something. But what's cool about that is because when something is stuck, it is able to go faster and faster through the generations until it hits this point where it restarts and tries something new. And that is nice in a sense of time efficiency, because that means that it takes less time for the program to drop back down to a state where it can improve in a different direction. In terms of the hill metaphor, here the program is at the top of a small hill, and so what happens is any direction it goes away from that spot on the hill, it is going down in terms of intelligence and in terms of ability to complete the task. So here, every single child program that it tries is not up to par with the best and second best program. So whenever it gets through and tests the generation initially, those scores don't compete with this score of 1818. So the program as a whole will just continue to burn through generations until it gets a little more desperate, and then when it hits that 50 mark, it flips back down to the bottom. And you'll see that this method isn't necessarily a shoe-in way to develop the program. It gets stuck again here at 1815 and drops back down to 1, but then that is when it gets back up to 18, but this is a different program. So this is the whole reason that I do this. It's a program that has the same potential for scoring as the previous best program, but it has different traits. And what happens in evolution when you see two things that are equally apt for survival but have different traits, when they commingle, their traits, the traits that are better for survival will add together, and the traits that are bad for survival will be dropped, which creates a program that it can create an organism. If you're talking about natural evolution, it creates a program that is better than both of them. Maybe not better than both of them combined. Sometimes the traits don't necessarily talk to each other well, but it creates a better program overall and allows the whole program to move up a notch in the ladder towards a more intelligent solution to the program. And it also gets it out of that plateau of 18, so it can start to go up a new hill, which is what we see here. So I will do a quick look to see if we have any questions here. I don't believe I have an audience at all, but no, I don't think there are any questions. So like I said, this weekend, I believe Saturday, I will say for now in the afternoon, probably closer to this time than to the normal time of 8. I will be having a guest speaker come on, and talk about a new topic, but it should be a more energetic stream, considering I'll have someone to talk to in real time rather than just bouncing questions off of the 13-second delay in the chat here. But with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll be signing off. So thank you.